tell you that I love you 100 times a day. You'll get tired of my voice, that's how much I'm gonna tell you that I'll miss you. I'll miss you if you go. Yes, I'm gonna let you know just how much I tell your mama, I tell your papa too. I'm gonna let everyone know about my love, so I really hope you love me too. Yeah, I really hope you love me too.
I'm gonna tell you,
I'm gonna tell you that I need you. I need you every day. You'll get weary of my touch, that's how much I'm gonna tell you that I want you. I wanna let you know, oh, you're the only one for me, no one else. I'm gonna shout it out, yeah, up on the mountaintop. I'm gonna let everyone know about my love, so I really hope you love me too. Yeah, I really hope you love me too. Oh, there's something deep inside, yeah, that really makes me wanna speak my mind, yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm gonna show you that I love you.
Hey, it's Chappie's Crypto here again with episode 15 of My Trading Journal. Let's get stuck into our session review of our trading from the night of the 8th of August, the morning of 9th of August in Australia, which is the Monday session of the trading week, and another interesting session. This one was a pretty crazy night for me, so I'll get straight into it and talk about what's happened and a bit of a review. So I suppose this session for me was a bit of a tale of two cities of what not to do and what to do. So I'll get into that now and just review it. So just straight away to tell you how the results were. So in the night session, total profit for the night net was $405, which is a 2.6% gain on the account, which, to be really honest, anytime you're doing more than 1% increase in your whole portfolio, your whole holdings, from my perspective, is pretty awesome. So I am trading my demo account for people that are following my trading journal. Totally trading my demo account, so it's not real money. The whole goal of this is to try and double my demo trading account. So that's where I'm at. If you look at this summary here, total profitable trades $944. That actually all came out of effectively one trade, which I'll go over, and some shocking losses here. So let's have a look at that. So overall, good night, but a bit of a tale of two cities. I'll jump over across here to Trading View, and we'll go full screen here and just a bit of a review. So I did a bit of a review on the end of the Friday night session, where I did a bit of a review, just sort of talking about how I saw the week coming, just my thought processes on the way that might look. It kind of played out the way I expected, but the moves didn't happen quite as rapidly. So this is how I'd marked out. So obviously just realizing though that this last day chart or last day candle wasn't there before I started my trading session. However, I'd marked out this as an area of interest, so we got a nice big fair value gap here, thinking that the price is actually moving this direction to come up and take out this area, take out this liquidity zones, and that's where I'm feeling like price is drawing to. The other thing I also noted on this is I've got this fair value gap down here. On a lower time frame, we've also got this fair value gap here, and we've also got this big fair value gap, which has actually filled in the last, just Thursday, Friday last week. So they're the points of interest I've drawn out of and you notice in here I've written here long-term target, and then also prices may draw down here during the start of this week, and we'll see where that heads. The other thing I did note when I was looking at the where we are in regards to the whole market, I actually drew a fib over this whole range. So I dragged down the Fibonacci tool down to the bottom of this whole range, and just noted the 50% or the halfway mark of this whole entire range here. And we're just at a very interesting point, so that we're right on the midway point And if you imagine this is a whole trading range, we've come out of a discount. We've been in trading a discount for a while and headed back up into premium. My expectation, and this is one thing that Michael from ICT talks a lot about, is having a bit of a picture in your mind of where you think the market might head. So for me, my thesis was that I'm thinking that. Sorry, excuse me 1 second. I'm thinking that the market may do this. I'm thinking we're going to have a bit of a retracement, possibly, maybe come down to here, if not down to here. And then I'm expecting price to come up to this area. I'm expecting that this is going to be a bit of a barrier where the price may not come down below. So I'm hoping that the price is probably going to come down here very short term, and then hopefully see this happen. So that's what I'm thinking is probably going to happen through the week, and we'll see over the next few days how that plays out. Let's get stuck down and have a look at actually how my trades went and what the setup looked like. This is the 1 hour chart. And you'll notice this is the movement we had overnight, or during that day session yesterday, or the last night that I traded. And remember, I've got the 1 hour fair value gap marked out here. So prices, I'm feeling like prices drawing down to this, possibly down to this level. But I'm definitely thinking this is fair game before we see a retracement up that direction. And let's go down to 15 minute and have a look at that time frame. Also remembering once again that we're not seeing any of this when I'm seeing what's happening coming up. I have marked on my chart the price at midnight. I did that before we started the session trading, and I did the thing that I promised myself I wouldn't do. I got a bit over ambitious, and I unfortunately looked at the charts before the market opened at 8:30 New York time, and I got overly anxious and I got overly excited and decided to take a few trades, which was really, in retrospect, not the best thing to do. And I suppose the methodology I had here is I'd seen this massive wick up here back here, and I noticed that price had actually done this. So I'll just move that out of the way. I noticed price had done this. It had actually come up here and it actually crossed that. So if you got a nice candle, so if you look at that, we've got prices broken this a couple of times here, and I just felt like, you know what, I'm expecting price to do this, come back down this way, but I moved too early, so I took a short, which was in retrospect probably not the best idea. And we'll go down to even the 1 minute time frame and have a look at this in a bit more detail. Sorry, let's just get this across, and we'll go over that particular setup. So these trades before market open, as I review my session, none of those trades actually played off and got a profit on any of those trades. So overly, it's just not an ideal scenario, and I probably shouldn't have taken in retrospect those trades. But what I did see is price had come up here, price, we got a nice big breaker market structure here, and then we had a fair value gap formed. And so for me, I thought, you know what, that's a fair entry. I'd actually missed this. I turned the charts on and I noticed it actually come up to here. So that price would actually be broken if we actually draw the rectangle tool here. And if you just draw this out, that was the area I was looking for, taking a potential trade. And so I suppose if you look at the rules that I had, it's a fair setup in regards to taking a short. Price did come down. One thing to note here when I review this, the price had actually come down and actually cleared out this liquidity zone. So they'd already taken that out. We're still pre-market, so we're in the overnight, so price isn't that volatile. And I did set my stop on this one to be, from memory, just above this area. So I got stopped out. So I actually took two contracts short, took another 2 contracts short here, and then not too much longer it stopped me out. So I think I ended up losing $51 on the first 2 contracts and $44 on the other 2. And so losing the trade to start. So I suppose retrospectively I decided, let's keep an eye on it. We are pre-market just to see what happens. I convinced myself again to go in again. One of the things I'm really reflecting on the fact is I like to be in the market, so I need to really learn from that and maybe control myself and maybe having a nap before market opens, so I just don't see any of this stuff or get distracted. But I'd once again convince myself that this was a fair value gap. He hadn't really broken market structure properly. So this trade did not meet my criteria, and I took the trade even though I convinced myself that there was something there. So retrospect, not a really smart setup there. I did lose out, $88 loss. And then I took my biggest loss not long after market open. I've still got this bias in the back of my head that we're going to do this. So I'm thinking that the whole time. I watched the market open, and we took this huge dive down, price dives, thinking, at some point this thing's going to retract. So I'm watching this. We've got a massive market structure shift here. It's a market open, price is stabilizing. I actually went back up a few time frames, even to the 3 minute from memory. Let's go look at the 3 minute look like. You've got this nice, big, chunky fair value gap. So what I did is I actually ended up taking a short position just here, and I put my stop up here. So there's quite a bit of room to move there, and probably a much larger stop loss than I've really ideally feel comfortable with. I thought we might have had something good here because the price did definitely, as soon as I got into it, it actually wicked down here a little bit, and I felt, that's not a bad trade here, but then it just moved away. I got stopped out at $336, which was a shame. And at that point I felt, what am I doing? I've just had a shocker. However, this is really interesting to note, because one of the things I was keeping an eye on when I looked at the market last night was this little setup, which I will show you. And I'd actually identified the fact that we've got this area and we've got this area. So if price came up to here, and I'd actually set an alert in this where I'd actually looked at this and said, you know what, if price moves above this area here, we've got effectively a relative equal high. So if we draw this from memory, it was around here. If we draw this on here, just draw that in. Apologize. Let's just draw this in here, see where we got. Sorry about that. That was a dodgy draw. Let's go again. Look at this high here. When you draw this trend line tool and you hold down the shift key, make sure it's a solid line. So that's the previous high. We'd already hit this here. If you notice here, we've got effectively a relative equal high. So those two are relatively equal highs. And we've got a break of that. And this broke through the previous high. So for me, this is starting to look like an ideal setup for another sell. And the other thing to note here is we'd had this form. So this is on the 5 minute at the moment. We've got this, and price is starting to break down this way. Let's go down to the 1 minute, and you'll see what I was noticed in the 1 minute time frame, which convinced me this is the right position. This is the one I've been waiting for, and this is the trade I should have held it for, because this is the one that actually broke the range. And it's beautiful. I literally just be watching. I watched about 4 or 5 of the ICT videos between, I think, video 13 and maybe 17. And I just, off the fresh of watching those mentorship series, he talked about these setups. So we've got this this is a I can't remember what it is, a long-term high. We've got an intermediate high, and then we've got one that's dropped off. So rather than have high, this high, then that high, then that high, we've got these highs dropping away. So for me, I'd convinced myself, if this price comes out and there's a little tiny fair value gap here, and a price had actually broken, we got this market structure shift here. So I took a fairly hefty size, 5 micro E-mini contracts at that point as a sell, and I felt pretty comfortable that we're headed this direction. I'd also identified, and this is the way that Michael from ICT shows you how to use the fib tool has been absolutely invaluable. It's actually paid out multiple times for me with these type of setups, and I can't speak highly enough of the way he explains how to do this. But when you looked at this, we got a nice big range from all the way back here all the way back up there. And so what I had done to work out where my target was going to be, because you have the pretty obvious targets of this zone here. You've also got, if you're taking a short, so I'm in a short here, you've got this here as possible targets. So what do you choose? So to give me a bit of extra confidence around where my target should be, I use the fib tool and marked off the top. So remember, we've got the top up here and this is the bottom in here. So we mark effectively from there right up to the top up here, and the 50.5. So that anything below here is fair game or around that level. So if I was being really patient and decided to let this play out, this would have been a great target just here. And I did have an order, a stop limit order in there, and I probably wasn't patient enough because it saw the price come down and hit this, or I had 2 contracts to execute at that point, I think, or 3 contracts to go out at that point. They hit, which was awesome. That was locked in a $574 profit on that, and I still had 2 in the market open, or I still had 2 orders open. And I did actually think of this, we may come down here. It's a bit chicken, and it was getting pretty late. It was almost, I think must have been 1:30 or something in the morning Australian time, and I just closed out this whole position to lock in effectively almost a $900 profit. Actually, it was over $900 by the time you add it all up. But price did actually go all the way down. And interestingly, when you look at this, it didn't quite hit the bottom of this range. So if you are a day trader or someone who just wants to be in and out in a particular session, you just got to pay attention to these ranges. So that was a pretty big move, but it didn't quite come down all the way here. So that fib tool, marking out that 0.5 line, is a really, really sensible tool to use to identify some good targets. So I'll take that on board to think about it when I'm setting up my trades for the next session, just in regards to what sort of targets you're looking for. But my number one takeaway is be patient. If you've marked out this range, and so for me, it was pretty obvious the fact that price came up here and broke these levels. That was the time to look to take a short. And I, in retrospect, probably should have been a bit more patient there and just let this play out a little bit, wait the price to do its thing, wait for this nice signal where we've got this, little high, a lower high, and then we've got the retracement back into the fair value gap. Great spot to take. There wasn't really any appropriate moves here because there wasn't any other signs here that was just really obvious. So over trading still on reflection. I'll learn from that, be a bit more patient. Hopefully I'll do a better job tonight. But I do have at the moment, and one of the things I will do is I do in my setup for my trade, for my session coming up, and the market will open in about 2 hours time. It's 8:30 p.m. Australian time at the moment. One of the things, as I've shown before, is I do mark out this line. So I'll just do that now. I'll just copy this and I'll paste that in. And I don't know where that's happened. Let's just try that again. Copy and paste. There we go. So what I'm doing here is I'm marking the price that was at midnight New York time, so I can identify and just use this as a bit of an anchor point. So ICT talks about this in his videos all the time, about just when you're setting up your bias and having a look to see what the session's about to do. So I'll just mark that, put that line in place. Might just get rid of that fib tool because it's a bit of noise on the chart, and I'll get rid of that as well. And what I'm doing here is I'm just trying to see where the price was dead on midnight, which is just there. So let's zoom in here, and we're going to get this chart, that line, just to be the base of the open at midnight. So that was the opening price at midnight. I'll leave that line on the chart, and I'll just relabel this. I'll double click on this line to call it Tuesday. So I'm already waiting to go for the price in about 2 hours time. What I would expect to see probably is that I would expect to see the price probably come up here a bit more, because we've had this big movement down. Remembering this is the starting point where I'm starting to look. Interestingly, if I'm thinking the price is going down, I would have probably expected the price to come up here a bit before we see this movement down this direction. So it'll be interesting to see when I look at the charts in about 2 hours time what's happening with price down here. We've got this fair value gap down there, this imbalance that price has definitely been drawn to. So I won't be surprised in this next session if we see this area attacked. And that's probably, it'll be interesting. Now, just between now and the market open, will price come back up here and then go like this? I'm not sure. So we'll wait and see what happens. But there you go. That's my session review for the Monday session. Pretty happy generally. I'm getting still frustrated. I'm giving away a lot of money with these silly trades or these trades that aren't working out, but I am learning. Hopefully that was informative for you. If you're on your trading journal, good luck with your sessions. And until next time, it's Chappie's Crypto signing out. Bye for now.